Now, what if I tell you that there is a philosophy that answers questions that I and many other people have had for years? Questions like, why are we here? Why do good people suffer? Why are people born into different circumstances? What happens after death? Why do spirits communicate with us? Why doesn't God, one day, the supreme source, supreme intelligence, create everyone perfect? When I began studying Spiritism and Spiritismo, especially the teachings of Allan Kardec, a lot of pieces to the puzzle just fit. So today we will talk about how Spiritism changed how I see, view, and understand spirit in the spiritual realm. So again, welcome to the Born Again Voodooist channel. If you're new here, this channel speaks about Hoodoo, Voodoo, Vodou, Spiritism, folk Catholicism. We also talk about spiritual discernment, which I'm very big on that, with respect and education. Now, mind you, when I say voodoo, I mean Louisiana, New Orleans Voodoo, American style voodoo. When I say Vodou, I mean Haitian Vodou. I'm a Mambo Makout in Haitian Vodou, practicing in my ancestral way of Louisiana Voodoo. You know, I have Haitian ancestry, I have Creole ancestry, I have ancestry in Benin and some other places. This video isn't about convincing you to believe in Spiritism. That's not the goal. It's about sharing what Spiritism teaches and why I find it to be one of the most fascinating philosophies I've studied in their meaning. I studied Buddhism. I studied a lot of different things. Spiritism began with one simple truth. God, Bande, is the supreme intelligence and the cause of all things. Everything originates from God. Nothing exists out of God's law. Again, nothing exists out of God's spiritual laws. Instead of portraying God as something that punishes or rewards people through miracles, Spiritism teaches that God governs creation through perfect spiritual laws that never fail. We talk about the laws. One of the biggest takeaways that we should take from this, especially if you're a beginner, you are not a body that has a spirit. A lot of spiritism, spiritual practices teach this. You are a spirit having a human experience. You temporarily use a body. The body dies. But your spirit does not. The spirit existed before physical life. It will continue to do so after the physical life. That will change how you look at life. One interesting thing that when you think about it, it's interesting. And it can surprise some of you. But did you know that spirits are continually being created? So there's just not one infinite type of spirit, like just one spirit. They're continually being created. Not all spirits are being created. Spiritism teaches that God continually creates spirits. And just how a lot of Abrahamic traditions believe that creation just happened at once, Spiritism teaches that creation does not happen all at once. It's continuous. So Bande, when I say Bande, that means God. God or Bande work is ongoing. So here the new spirits, they are created simple. You know how people back in the day like simple-minded? They're born with simple knowledge. Then gradually grow over many experiences and many lifetimes. So do you know what that means? God's creation is continually unfolding moment by moment. Now, this became one of my favorite teachings. Spiritism said God could have created the spirits perfect, but perfection that is simply given has no merit. So instead, spirits earn wisdom, love, charity, understanding through experiences and free will. Perfection is achieved, however, it isn't handed to us. So that makes Bandes justice, equal. Because every spirit begins the journey with the same destiny. You know what that is? Eventual perfection. So here in your life, you might have a destiny, but which is different. But the main goal, your spirit goal, destiny is perfection. So this is something a lot of philosophies teach. And Spiritism, or the spirits have proven through Spiritism, that the primary world, the true world, our true existence is the spiritual world. That means that's the primary reality, and that this life is temporary. So the spiritual world continues, or has been long before birth, and continues and will continue long after death or transition. So Earth is like one big classroom among many. You ever heard some traditions call it a marketplace? So in that case, the spiritual world, the spiritual realm, is our home. So Spiritism doesn't describe death as an ending. It describes death as discarnation. The spirit leaves the physical body, life continues. Guess what? The personalities continue. Memories continue, love continue, growth continues. Instead of Spiritism asking what happens after death, Spiritism asks what happens after birth into the spiritual realm. Now this is another teaching that I started adopting into my vocabulary that I'm going to start using more. Instead of Spiritism talking about evil spirits, which I never really said evil spirits, I use other words. But now, Spiritism talks about the spirits being imperfect, and I like that better. So, yes, I always believed there was no evil spirits. They were just spirits that did do like things that we would consider not good, but the word imperfect fits very perfectly. There are spirits that are at different levels of intellectual development, moral development. Some are selfish, some are kind, some are wise, some deceive, some genuinely want to help. Guess what? So just like people here on earth, spirits are at different levels of growth. Now this idea was far ahead of its time. A lot of the ideas was far ahead of its time, especially the things that they learned from the spirits. Spiritism does teach, and this is good, for the people that talk about aliens and all this, or just other people, other things on other planets and stuff like that. Spiritism teaches that there are other worlds that are inhabited. Bondage universe contains countless of worlds. So different planets serve different purposes. Some worlds are less advanced than ours. One of these days I have to learn how to insert those little tabs that you can just click on to different parts, but I'm learning. Some are far more spiritually advanced. Our journey doesn't necessarily end here on earth. Spiritism also teaches something very beautiful. Your race doesn't determine your spiritual value. Gender doesn't determine your spiritual value. Nationality doesn't determine your spiritual value. Social class does not determine your spiritual value. Every spirit is created for the same destiny, and that destiny is, what was it? To reach perfection. Spiritism also teaches that the spirit themselves does not possess a single gender. A spirit may incarnate into a male one lifetime, then to a female another lifetime, depending on what they need for their spiritual growth and advancement. This completely changes how we see and view identity from a spiritual perspective. So whether you ultimately agree with Spiritism or not, I think these teachings encourage us to ask deeper questions. How do we become better people? Why are we here? How should we treat one another? How can suffering become growth? What responsibilities do we have towards each other? Those questions matter regardless of your religious background. So as I continue studying the teachings of Allan Kardec, you'll hear more Spiritism, which I always loved. It was something I studied for a while in the beginning, then stopped and got back to it. You'll hear more Spiritism. Of course, Hoodoo, NeworleansVoodoo, Haitian Vodou, some folk Catholicism. You hear things like that on this channel. I'm not replacing one tradition with another. I'm continuing to learn and share what I find meaningful. If you ever wonder what Spiritism teaches, or you just never heard of it, I hope this gave you a solid introduction. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe. Hit that bell icon to be notified. And be sure to share with someone who's interested in spirituality, life after death, the unseen world. And be sure to let me know in the comments what Spiritist teaching surprised you the most, what interests you the most. Until next time, I'm Mambo getting in. Peace, love, and blessings. May one day the Loa, your saints, your spirits, guides, guide your path. Stay disciplined, stay aware, keep your road open. I'm Mambo getting in again. Born again Voodooist. Links always in the bio.